Hello, hello. Hey, new things are coming, and it's just one of those things. Let me see. Yeah, my mic wasn't on. I love it. Mic wasn't on, and so yeah. It's always good when you do a show and then you don't have your microphone on. I'm not sure why it's good, but hey, it is what it is. We live with what we have. So first off, let me know in the chat that you can hear now, if you're here, and we'll go from there. As I was saying before, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you for jumping on and having a good evening. So if you follow along, this week I posted a bunch of videos on some of the upgrades we've been doing, giving you kind of a walkthrough the upgrades that we've been working on, and I'm happy to say that we have gotten a lot further on our updates, on the things that we are doing, and it's just one of those things that you are happy to do. So we have a few things that we've been updating, a few things that we've been fixing up. Some of the stuff you can see, and some of the stuff you have not. Now, before I go any further, let me just tell you, if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn that, and then turn on notifications. That way, when we do updates, when we do post videos, you'll be notified right away, and you'll be told, hey, JAmemories is doing some fun stuff. Jump in and watch those videos. With that being said, make sure you like the videos. It helps with the algorithms, it helps with YouTube, and promotes the channel as much as you can. And finally, share the videos with your friends and family and those that are in the tech world. We enjoy what we do, we have fun with what we do, and we want to get that message out there as much as we can. And as always, thank you for hanging out with us. I know time is precious, and taking time out to watch these videos are exciting. So with all of that taken care of, with all of that being said and done, let me go into kind of where we are. And like I said, some of the updates are very obvious. You can just go back and see from where we were to where we are, and just get an idea of what kind of things we've been doing. So one of the things that most obvious is the lighting. If you haven't noticed, the lighting, we have added some LEDs, we've added some sound borders and sound panels in the backdrop to kind of just give a different feel. It is doing a little bit of acoustic treatment to the room so that it doesn't get as much vibrance, and we'll get into that. The sound is a little bit more dampened, and we'll get into why that's important in just a minute. And then as well, we have increased the overall look of the set. I moved my camera back a little bit further. I put this LED screen, not LED, but this video screen behind me. Now, what you guys don't know, and you may have realized it, may not have, that screen's always behind me. That is actually the screen I use to play video games. And when I do play video games, I play on that screen. So, and I'll talk about how I'm doing all of this, how I'm able to get all of this going in a few minutes. We've also added this runner back here. This runner is doing two things. It is providing a barrier between the backdrop and my cables, so do a little bit of cable management. And I mentioned earlier in one of my previous videos that we did some cable management behind the set on the other side, away from the where you guys never see the behind the scenes kind of look. So it kind of helps with the overall feel. So when I come down, I feel comfortable. I feel excited, and I'm thrilled to be sitting here in the studio doing what I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, if you don't feel comfortable in the space that you are going to, you're not gonna want to go there that often. Now, a couple other things that we added, going back to these runners, they also have LED strips on them. Now, I don't know if you can see, but right above here, there's a shelf. Now, my finger's nowhere near the shelf, but in video, everything is 2D, so even if I move my finger like this, when I'm moving my finger closer to my face, still looks like I'm pointing to this board right here. So yeah, but the board right there is another one of these, and I added that so that I could add an LED strip up there as well. So we've got LED strips behind the sound paneling. We've got LED lights up there on that panel, LED lights behind here, and that kind of gets the vibe going, gets the mood going. And being LED, it can be changed. Now, I did go with the colors because they kind of match the color scheme of JAmemories. So with all of that being done and said, we've also have behind here, and we had this a couple weeks already, but the light back there, the light shining back there behind the TV, that's just an LED bulb, a colored LED bulb, and it shines up. And now, because of the LED lights being brought in front of the TV, I now have a nice transition all the way up to where I'm sitting right here. Now, obviously the key lights are shining on me, and then I'm able to get lit properly for the camera, but at the same time, I've got a nice accent behind me. We did a whole series on lighting, so if you hadn't seen that, go back to the previous, go back and watch those live videos on the lighting. We did lighting for a couple weeks, actually talking about different ways of lighting. And this is just one of the many ways you can light for a specific thing. So a couple other things that little things, I don't know if you can see, which way is it? Right there. This right here. This paneling right there. That is actually just some more of the same stuff right here that is over here. Just lined up in front of a shelf I've got back there. And it's kind of just blocking the clutter. Now I do have a seat I can put right back there in front of the paneling, but the chair wasn't blocking the clutter that's there, and because of that, I wanted to just block the stuff. So yes, so I see Rick Layson is on. Nice to see you, Rick. Glad you made it on. And he's saying he wants my chair. I actually found this chair at Sam's Club, so you're more than welcome to go pick one up. It's a respawn, so have fun picking one up. The chair I had, and this is another upgrade to the studio, is the chair I had was actually quite disturbing. I had a lot of comments. A lot of people were telling me, hey, it's time to upgrade your chair. It looked like the thing was about ready to fall apart. And so, you know, when some money came in from a previous job, I had some money. I said, okay, it's time to go ahead and bite the bullet and purchase a new chair. So that's what I did, and I like it because it's actually it's a gaming chair, so it actually functions in multiple ways. It's nice and stiff. Now this chair does not rock, so by nature it doesn't rock. However, it does come with a lumbar support, which I can adjust in the back to my liking. It has a nice firm headset, so when I'm sitting there like this, and it also reclines. Now it's a locking recline, so you lock it in place, and for those moments when I just want to lounge around and sit steady and just have some fun, it does come with a leg rest, so I can recline completely. And I've actually, I don't know how far back, I never actually put it all the way back, but you could take a nap in this thing. So if my wife ever is missing, she might come down here and go, "Are you sleeping in your gaming chair?" That actually might actually be, I might actually get in trouble for that one. But, anyway, so that's another upgrade, the chair to kind of just, and I wanted to go with a purple one, but I couldn't find one in the store, so I went with red, and red does kind of go with the Tech Talk theme, so I figured, it works. Other upgrades that we did. I don't know if anyone notices, but I have no microphone. Now, if you were here when I first started, you didn't hear me and you would have thought, hey, he forgot his mic. No, that's something else that is causing the mic to be off. But now you can hear me, but yet you can't see any microphones. Well, I decided to upgrade our audio. Previously, up to this point, we were using a PreSonus USB box, and that was taking my microphone in, and then I was feeding that straight into the A10 Mini that I stream with. But the problem is it didn't have the proper EQ settings. It didn't have the proper, it just wasn't giving me the options I wanted. Plus, I could only plug 2 microphones in, and getting those two to work properly at the same time was just hit and miss. So I upgraded my audio board to, I really wanted the Rodecaster Pro 2. I've done a lot of research, and the Rodecaster Pro 2 is the ideal audio board for this size of a production, but that just wasn't in the budget. So I opted to go with the next best thing, which I'm finding is actually quite impressive. Doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it has a lot of the bells and whistles that the Rodecaster has, and that is the Tascam Mixcast 4. So I now have the Tascam Mixcast 4, and that allows me to have 4 microphones plugged in. I can have 2 computers, one through the 3.5 millimeter jack and one through USB, so I can get 2 dedicated computers, audio through that, and I can have a Bluetooth hooked up to it so I can play music through my phone. Or what a lot of people are doing with these podcast machines is they're using that for their audio, for Zoom calls, for phone calls, and being able to record the podcasts and the interviews through the USB or the Bluetooth. So that option is definitely a plus when you're dealing with getting clean audio through a phone or a tablet or something like that. So the Mixcast 4 is now my main audio board, and then I'm taking the audio out of that and feeding to the 810 Mini. Now the nice thing about the Mixcast 4, another feature that I like, is the fact that I can have my earpiece in, hear the mix without my microphone into it. Now I can come over here and turn on the microphone so I hear it in my mix, but at the same time, it's not too distracting to me because I can turn it off at any time. Plus, obviously anyone in the chat can leave a comment and say, hey, can't hear you. And, obviously that would be a bummer, but at least I would know. So what else have we updated? So one of the problems I have is over here. So my layout is I'm looking at the camera right here, but my multi-view is over here. So if I'm looking at my multi-view for the cameras and stuff, I have to physically turn my chair and look over here. And on stream, that's very distracting, very, very discouraging, because I'm no longer talking to you who put the time in to listen and watch my videos. So I've worked in broadcast. One of the golden rules of broadcast is never turn your back to the camera. And it's kind of hard when my monitor is over here. Now, granted, I'm not turning my back to you, I'm just turning my ears to you. So maybe you're thinking I'm listening to you better? I don't know, but it's not professional. So what I did is I added a second program monitor right behind my camera. So if I glance down, that's kind of what I'm looking at, is I'm looking at the monitor behind my camera. And I'll take pictures of all of this. I still got a little bit more cable management to do in front of me because there's a ton of wires back here. And trying to get cable management under control when you're dealing with tons and tons of wires in a small space is not the easiest thing in the world. One thing I've learned over the last few weeks when I've been looking at cable management is cable management doesn't mean that every single line is pristine and clean and it's everything's neat. Cable management means for most people you can't see it. So for a lot of people, if you hide the cables, there may be a rat's nest somewhere behind your desk. It may be behind a wall. It could be a rat's nest somewhere else. But as long as you don't see it, they're happy. Now, for some, that works. For me, that's not necessarily the case because at some point I have to get into that rat's nest and fix something, move a cable, adjust a line because I need it to go somewhere else. So I want to be strategic about my cable management and not just wall it off and call it good. So that's why it's taking a little bit of time to get to that point where everything is nice and neat. Another thing that I do when I do cable management is I don't like using zip ties. I'll use zip ties on permanent things. I'll use zip ties on cables that I know I'm not going to move for a very long time. But if there's a bundle that I might need to move, I might need to change something in, I like using Velcro straps. Simply because they're easier to come off and you can reuse them once you're done. So Velcro is my go-to when it comes to cable management. So that's what I'm using in the studio. So we've talked about the lighting, we talked about the audio. One other thing about the audio is I've got the music set so that instead of me having to adjust the mix volume on the mixer, I use my programming to adjust the volume of VLC player. So when I start the show, I'm at full volume, and then when I come in to talk, I lower that volume. So the music stays in the background, but yet I can talk and not be overpowered by the music. So that's what. Now, going back to this screen back here, I actually got asked by a friend of mine who was watching some of the videos from this week and looking at how I've been setting up the set, and they asked, how are you doing that video screen? Are you feeding it off of a media player? Are you doing it? So that, because that is my gaming computer, it's got PlayStation 4 on that screen. I'm actually using the PlayStation 4 as a media player, and I'm streaming on my computer the videos for that background. Now I can play all kinds of backgrounds, and you'll see them as you go. I like this one for the opening, for the beginning, but I've got backgrounds of oceans, I've got backgrounds of cabins, I've got backgrounds of thunderstorms. I even got a nebula that I can show you guys. So it's gonna change. The lighting's gonna change. I'm gonna feel it out as I go. One thing you may have noticed is I've got only one eagle picture, which unfortunately with my name, my logo there, I'll take that out. There's the eagle right there. That's the only eagle picture left on the set. Now, I love eagles, and anyone who knows me knows I love eagles. So the set itself doesn't have the eagles that it used to have, but I still got them. I'm gonna put them up on the other wall. They'll be inspiration to me, and just keep going. So those are the main changes. So what I thought for tonight I would do is, I've been working on a wire diagram of this studio, and I'm just in the starting stages of it, just so that I can get an idea of where I am. So I'm going to do this, if this works. So there was another change that just happened. I don't know if you noticed it, if it kind of caught you off guard, but let me go back to this. So another thing that I've added is stingers to my transition. So instead of just going from camera to super source, or from super source back to camera, I now do a stinger. And for some, they're like, okay, it's no big deal. But when you're dealing with productions, the wow factor expands when you get to add little things like that. And it takes time, it takes effort, it takes time in the studio. And like I said in a previous video this week, that spending time in the studio outside of your live productions allows you time to upgrade stuff, time to do things that are not an everyday occurrence. If you don't spend any time outside of your live productions or your videos, then you're not going to have the wow factor anymore. It's gonna get dull. It's gonna be stagnant, and people aren't gonna want to watch it. You've got to spend time in there tweaking and improving your content. And that's what I did this week. I spent way too much time. I think a couple of nights I was up till well past midnight working on stuff. And I was up Monday night late. Tuesday night I was up way too late. And I actually paid for it. Wednesday I came home and about crashed. There's pros and cons to that. You gotta be wise with your time. And so anyway, so what you're looking at right now, going back to what you're looking at right now, you're looking at a basic wire diagram of my video setup right now. And that's pretty much what I've got right now. I've got to add a lot more to this, because what you don't see on this is all the video outputs, all the monitors I've got going on. At this current moment, right now, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know if you saw that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 monitors in this room on for this production. You're like, why in the world do you have 9 monitors? Why do you have 9 monitors on? Why? Well, one, I like mine. I've got multiple outputs on multiple computers. Most of my computers have at least 2 monitors. 2 of them have 3. One has 1. So right there, you've got a bunch of your monitors. You got one right there for the video screen, and then you've got. I should fix that. No, I actually have 9, 10, 11. I actually have 2 other ones over here monitoring the stream. So anyway, all right, so let's just break down what we see here. Let's break it down. So obviously number 1 is my camera. That is actually going into input 4. At one point I had input 3, my other camera, but I don't. No, I take that back. I never had 2 cameras hooked up to this set. That is ultimately the plan, to have 2, at least 2 in this studio hooked up so I can get a second shot. But this time I don't have it. So we've got the camera is input 4. That is a Sony ZV-1F. That is the camera, and that is another thing. We did upgrade. The camera itself and the lens is the same, but what we did is, instead of doing an autofocus, when I started adding all these other features and moving the camera back a little bit, it kind of was having a little bit of trouble focusing. So I dialed in the focus so that I would be in focus. And let's go full screen again. The background kind of gets fuzzy a little bit, and that actually looks kind of cool. That I'm focused and the background's a little fuzzy. Now I can get a lot better lens, a lot more expensive lens that'll do a macro lens, which would be I'm focused and everything within a couple inches of my face would be blurry. But those lenses are very expensive, and I really don't have the budget for that. And I've got other things that I want to get before I get into that kind of thing. So going back to our diagram, desktop computer, which is the music computer. Basically, I run VLC player for the music. I've got a library of music, which gives me a point of talking about the music. Harris Heller and Senpai Gaming has done a awesome job doing free music, and he's given the community permission to use his music free of charge, and it's copyright free. There is no strikes against you on YouTube streaming wise. So I gotta give a big shout out to Harris Heller and his team for putting those stream beats together. You can find stream beats and Harris Heller and Senpai Gaming on YouTube. So look them up, and believe it or not, they're all the same person. So yeah, they have done a great job providing music, and they've got a variety of music. And this is kind of my library that I like. It's the I'm not even sure what album it is. Let me look and see if I can EMD. I'm not sure what that stands. If that's the name of the genre that is, or if that was a shortened. I may have shortened it, but it's the EMD soundtrack playlist kind of thing that I've put together. So it's just it kind of fits the vibe. So that outputs. I do have a video output. So if I want to do videos, playbacks, I would use a VLC player to play videos, and then output those to, to the stream if I wanted to play back that. Next is my laptop, which is my production laptop, and that's actually running to the Mixcast 4 via USB, so that I can play the music back through that. I also could record music onto the primary computer, and this is what you're actually looking at right now is my main production computer. I actually have 3 monitors on this computer. I've got the laptop display and 2 external displays. One being what you guys would see, and a second external, so that I can have stuff prepped and bring it over, so that I can do things like this, have it up and it's ready to go, bring it in, and when I'm done, bring it out. So that gives me the flexibility to move stuff, and that's all sitting right in front of me. That's why it's a main production computer, because it sits in front of me, I have it available, and that's what I show a lot of the demos, a lot of the things that I want to show you is off my main production computer. What's also running on that one, I've also got BitFocus Companion running on that, which provides the power for the Stream Decks, as well as the Stream Deck software, Elgato. So Elgato, in one of their more recent updates, they actually provided an interface that will allow you to run both BitFocus and the Elgato Stream Deck software together. Now, you can't use the BitFocus by itself, but you link in the I'll actually show you that real quick, because it's awesome how they did. So I don't think we got. So this right here is the Stream Deck software. Okay, so when you're dealing with the Stream Deck, I'm looking at this Stream Deck. So all of these right here are actually BitFocus's companion buttons. But the nice thing about it is you can actually add a companion button under the custom field, and then you tell it what page it is from the BitFocus software, which I'll go ahead and load up here. So this is the BitFocus software, and this is the Stream Deck software. Okay, so you have your buttons right here that you program in BitFocus, and then you bring that over into OBS. You tell it what page you want and what number, and it'll bring it up to your Stream Deck. Now you sit there and go, why in the world would you want to run both of these software? why not just run one or the other? And that's an excellent question. And I've gotten a lot of people that say they prefer BitFocus because of the functionality. Because BitFocus and Companion, one being open source, the community is building items and products and compatibility with so much interfaces and so many softwares and hardware that Elgato just isn't reaching out to. That's one way you can control the ATEM minis with, and their entire ATEM switcher line with Blackmagic. But at the same time, the Elgato software allows you to control so much on the local computer that you can't control with BitFocus. If I go to a different page, let me see. If I go home, I've got buttons for Photoshop, Excel. This is a note program I have. I've got a calculator on here. If I go to the calculator, it actually brings up an actual working number pad on my Stream Deck. Makes it working with Excel very easily. So I open up the Excel document that I'm working on. I've got my number pad right here. Makes it a lot easier. You don't get that with BitFocus Companion. And up until that update, I can't remember which update it was, a few back, you were not able to run BitFocus's software and the Elgato Stream Deck at the same time. But through a companion and through software that they have done, you're able to do that now. So, and I'm able to make changes real quick. So all of this is being done off of the main computer. So and finally, also, I am running, I'll bring it over, my ATEM software, my ATEM control software. That is also running off of my main computer. Now, I'm not touching, during the live productions, I'm not actually touching this software. It just runs in the background. It gives me a visual of what's going on, just so that I know if there's something that I want to do that I haven't programmed on my Stream Deck. I've got the software right there that I can quickly adjust and make that adjustment. So, with that being done, that's laptop number one. We still have two other laptops to run. So laptop number two is actually a lot older laptop, and that is what runs the YouTube videos. That's sitting off to my whatever side this is. You can't see it in my box. It's over here to my right, which is obvious because I got a wall to my left. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, because unless it's through the wall over here, yeah, it's not happening. So on my right, I've got the YouTube interface open, the UI for YouTube video. I've got the chat open so that I can run the chat. Now let's talk about the chat, because as I said before, I can pop the chat up. Of course, I just blocked my face, so I need to show over here a little bit. I literally just blocked my face. It's awesome. I blocked my face with my own face. Anyway, but I can bring the chat in through, and the nice thing about this, the chat is actually powered via a streamer that I followed. Created I should say follow, because I still follow him. He created a Chrome plugin that will allow you to bring chat into your streams. The streamer, his name is Aaron Precarity. I might be butchering his name, and I apologize if I am. But you can go to his website, precarity.tv, I think it is. Let me see. No, it's not letting me do it. I can't find it at the moment, but I'll drop his links in the description below after the video. But Aaron Precarity, he created a Chrome plugin. It's an add-on to the Chrome browser. Now, it only works in Chrome. It doesn't work in Firefox or Edge or any other browsers out there, but it only works in Chrome. But if you can pop the chat out of your video and then apply, after you've downloaded the plugin, it will give you a pop-up option, and then through another, you can actually bring the chat into your thing, just like Rick said, I'm on. Of course, I keep blocking my face. So that's how I'm doing the chat. Now, I'll get in, when I get to the third laptop, I'll go into a little bit more detail how I bring it into the actual videos. So that is laptop number 2. I have an option to also bring videos in on that one as well, but they're not as smooth as my other, my music computer. So I don't necessarily plan on doing that. But that laptop is actually a very old laptop. It's actually sitting behind one of my monitors with a fan blowing on it because it tends to overheat. So I really don't want to push it too hard on that one. But doing what I do with it, the YouTube, it seems to be very, it likes the low usage option that I push on that. So that brings us to laptop number 3. And if you can tell from this diagram, it's kind of hard because according to the laptop, it's only VGA out 1. And I've actually got multiple outputs, video outputs, through dongles. So I've got a network card which provides one HDMI out, and then also provides a USB out. And then out of one of the USBs, I've got a dual HDMI output, which provides 3. That's correct. 3. Say it, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 HDMI inputs. I'm going to input, if I can get to my mouse. I'm actually going to input 8, 7, and 5. That's how I'm doing it. Why do I do that? Why is it crucial to have 3 outputs from one computer? Well, one, that is actually doing that feed. That is actually providing the stinger that I have. So when I go to things like this, it just sits in the background running that the whole time. So I just went to the wrong input. But that just happens. It's okay. That just happens. But the nice thing is, I can do this all day long and go right back to myself. As you can tell, I'm very happy with that look. So I'm I'm messing with the thing a little bit too much. But anyway, so that's number one. Number two output is actually the lower thirds, the not the graphic you see right here, but the crawl that you see over there. That is also providing graphics like this. I can do the confetti coming down off of that. I have my logo can come in off of that input. That's output number two. Well, what is running that output? That is where, and I don't know, you may have seen it pop up, but you have this awesome program by a guy named John Barker, who built basically a graphics, a CG program that runs off your computer, and it's called H2R Graphics. John Barker has a YouTube channel called Here to Record, and he's actually designed, developed, and wrote the programming for quite a few apps, one being H2R Graphics. Now, he does offer this program free of charge. We here at the channel at JAmemories have purchased a full volume, a pro version. It offers a little bit more features and a lot more gadgets and things. Plus, I like supporting the people that I get to use. So we went ahead and purchased the full license. But you can use his stuff free of charge. And that's what provides all the graphics for my show. I say, okay, that provides most of my graphics. The Tech Talk right here is a graphic I built and loaded into the ATEM Mini media store. So that's coming off of the media store, off of the ATEM Mini. So okay, so that's number two. Where's number three? Number three is actually the output of these chats. Because, so as I mentioned before, you've got to get away from taking the chat on the computer over to the ATEM. And there is no direct output that would work for the lower third. So what we do is we take we feed the chat overlay over to let me see if I can I'm gonna look off screen, guys. Alright. Yeah, I can't find it, but that's all right. Yeah, so I was looking for the sound to see if I had the output of this. It looks like this is not the output's not routed right at the moment. So, excuse me, it's impolite to yawn on the live stream. All right. So that basically is the video side of things when it comes to the layout of the studio. Yeah, it sounds a little complicated, and when you're sitting down trying to figure that out, you know, the best way to manage all of that. Yes, it's a little complicated, but at the end of the day, you ultimately have to figure out what works for you. What works for you as an individual, what works for you as a streamer. And that's one thing that we do here at JAmemories is we help people succeed working with what they have, the upgrades in the studio. Outside of the mixer, which is right off to my right, and it's at my fingertip. You guys can't see where my fingers is, but I can literally touch the audio faders and bring the volume down and bring it back up. I've got complete control over all the audio. I've got full faders. I can bring my mic down, and one of the problems, the reason I was not on when I first got there is because I actually muted my channel instead of bringing my level up. Next week we might do it differently to go into that same problem. But for what it is, that's what happened. But again, it's on the live stream. So, with that being said, these kind of things, these upgrades are exciting to me, because when I can do it in my own home, when I can do these setups and practice and get used to the ins and outs of what it takes to do a full production, because it does take a little while to get used to the graphics, to make sure that you have your everything right. Make sure the programming is right, because when you have things like your name popping in, because people need to be able to know who you are. Just because they come to your channel doesn't necessarily mean they know who you are. So popping your name in and out, having that at their fingertips, having the bug right here, being able to do those things takes time. A lot of times when you get cookie cutter designs and cookie cutter things that you do, you tend to look like everybody else because you want to stand out and be unique. Well, one of the things I want to do is I want to be able to provide services, not just consulting, but also provide people with the knowledge that when I tell them something, it actually means what I say. I've got clients who, within a few minutes of me talking to them, they're asking questions, I'm asking questions, we're going back and forth. and I actually got told by one client going, you actually know what you're talking about. Because the client had worked in broadcast years past. He's now a full-time pastor. And, so he's got a little bit of background in TV. And he knows what he wants, just doesn't know how to get there. And so he asked me to come in and kind of guide him and get him to the right place. At the end of the day, does that always work out? I sure hope so. That's my goal. I mean, my goal is to help people succeed one client at a time. And I'm going to do everything I can as a consultant to get them to the point where they are successful. Because at the end of the day, if they're not successful, I'm not successful. And I always want to be successful in everything that I do. So, I gotta get a drink. It is almost 9 o'clock. So we're gonna wrap this up. If you have not done so, make sure you like the stream, like the video, share it on your social media platforms, You can share this on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, whatever. I'm not sure if you can share videos on Instagram, but if you can, share it over there. And these all go up on YouTube as VODs. So, excuse me, I've got a hairball up my throat. But other than that, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. And I apologize. We are going to call it a night. Have a great night. Have a great week. And set your DVRs, set your reminders. We go live every Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. So depending on where you are, Pacific, Mountain, Pacific is 6, Mountain 7, Central 8, and then Eastern 9. So God bless you all. Have a great week. Be blessed, and we'll catch you later.